Back to the AM show. Time now to bring you some news updates. And first in the news this morning, former Vice President Mohammed Bawumia and Bawumia MP Dr. Awal Mohammed were the final two NPP flag-bearer aspirants to file their nomination forms on Thursday. During the curtain on the first phase of the process to elect a flag-bearer for the party, it would be recalled that nominations were officially opened on Tuesday, 29th day of July 2025, by the party's General Secretary on behalf of the National Council, allowing interested members to enter the race to become the NPP's presidential candidate for the 2028 general elections. Kenneth Jesse was at the party's headquarters earlier and reports.
Like the day before, it's been a very busy day here at the national headquarters of the opposition New Patriotic Party. Two candidates, the final candidates to submit their nomination forms to lead the party into the 2028 general elections. Former Vice President Bawumia was the first to appear here. We was met with an enthusiastic crowd who cheered him on and said that he was the right person to lead the party to victory camp 2028. And when the former vice president mounted the stage, he courted the support of the party members, insisting that they must remain united and that he is the most competent and qualified candidate heading into the 2028 general elections.
I am offering myself to be elected as flag bearer because I believe we owe a duty to this party to give her a choice to put forward the most prepared candidate for the 2028 election and the most prepared person to be president in 2029. In the last 16 years, I've had the privilege of joining each and every constituency at least 5 times to work hard on the ground and campaign and work for the NPP.
Well, the next and the final one was the former Education Minister, Dr. Awal Mohammed, who just concluded his remarks to party members, urging them to vote for him to transform the country through his education policies that he will introduce when he's voted for. He cited his record at the Education Ministry as a testament for all to see.
With our humility, we are going to begin the process. I know you know me as a former Minister for Education, and I know there are many of you who meet you on the street, and you talk about the work that I did as the Minister of Education. Having been given opportunity by the President and all that good father, I began my work transforming public schools. I began my work bringing STEM education to Ghana, revamping team-based education. Now the testimony is there for you to see. I only do evidence-based communication. What I have done is there for every one of you to see.
We live to see who will eventually lead the party in 2026 into the 2028 general elections. From the NPP headquarters, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
In the news also, a Greater Accra Regional Minister Linda Oklu has taken a swipe at some municipal chief executives in the region, accusing them of inefficiency and complacency. Speaking at a media briefing at the Regional Coordinating Council in Accra yesterday, she cautioned that the era of MCEs hiding behind personal assistants to perform their duties is over. There's more in this report filed by Collins Frimpong.
According to the regional minister, some MMDCs have turned their personal assistants into shadow administrators, who sometimes represent them at official meetings and sign critical documents.
Your PAs are not to approve documents on givements and not to represent you at official meetings. This must stop immediately. Assemblies cannot run by unelected, unappointed individuals hiding behind your authority.
Her warning resonated with some executives present. Temes MC Ebi Bright described the directive as not just timely, but a much-needed reset for accountability at the local level.
She must be. She must be, because, you know, all of us need a jolt of reality. Yes, we're trying our best, but if there's no tolerance, then we will lose sleep and get the work done. But I think it's also a signal to the community. It's also a signal to our assemblies, so that they understand that we're there to be accountable, and they must give us all the support. Because once you challenge me on my responsibility, I have to go back and challenge my support staff to also perform.
It is our duty, and I know it's not as if we are not performing totally, but then she's just re-emphasizing that we need to be more proactive. And I know we are barely 3-4 months in our various municipalities. And so we could only just try and do more.
I think if you are complacent, you are complacent. Probably she can't not say that if she don't know what she's talking about. So I'm sure she really knows what she's talking about. My PA don't attend things for me. I do them. If I can't, I can't. But I mean, PAs are also supposed to do certain work. They have their own responsibilities. So I'm sure she knows what she's talking about.
On Accra's dimly streets, the minister admitted the city still lies in patches of darkness, despite earlier promises to brighten them. She announced that 3,000 new street lights have been secured and tasked MMDAs to install them within 2 weeks.
Through engagement with the Ministry of Energy, I am pleased to announce that we have secured 3,000 street lights, and every MMDA will receive 100 pieces. Let me be clear. You have 2 weeks only to ensure that every single one of those lights is fixed. No excuses, no delays. I will personally monitor this directive, and let me serve this notice. Any chief executive who fails to comply will be exposed and reported.
The Electricity Company of Ghana added its own call to action. Abbas Bin Saidu of ECG's project office urged assemblies to swiftly report stolen cables so repairs can be carried out without delay.
The management of the street light themselves, some of them fall directly under the assembly. So where we heard that some cables have been stolen and all that, those issues need to be reported to ECG appropriately, so that the company can see what it can do about it.
Another spotlight fell on the chaotic spread of billboards across the capital. The regional minister directed MMDAs to remove every unauthorized billboard scattering along roadside, describing them as hazards that undermine order and safety.
Assemblies continue to look on while illegal billboards are springing up everywhere, obstructing visibility and endangering lives. This carelessness is unacceptable. You must enforce the law without fear or favor. Do your job or step aside for those who can. And as for this theft of drain covers, I am shocked at the lack of seriousness in tackling these issues. Work with the police, intensify surveillance, and take proactive measures. Stop waiting for instructions before acting.
Reporting for J News, I am Collins Frimpong.
Ghana's push for universal health coverage is a national priority, says NHIS Abra Asebu Kwaman Kese District Manager Edward Mensah. Speaking at the district's first 2025 stakeholders meeting, he called for stronger partnership with NGOs and the private sector, emphasizing that achieving this goal requires collective efforts and unity. Abigail Acel has more in the report coming up.
During the 2025 first stakeholders engagement of the Abra Asebu Kwaman Kese AAK National Health Insurance Scheme NHIS District Office, the acting Central Regional Director of the National Health Insurance Authority, Kojo Thompson, called on stakeholders to make it a collective responsibility of reforming Ghana's health system.
I think this is a very important occasion for us to reset Ghana's agenda, moving from difficulties. What has been our challenge as we rename our Ghana and our region with a brighter future? We can do that when we meet as stakeholders. NHIS has a role to play. That is why if you look at the team, we always say that it is a collective responsibility. Ghana is among countries that has actually signed on to the universal health coverage requirement by United Nations, which we seek to achieve by 2030.
The district manager of AAK-NHIS, Edward Mensah, reiterated the call for collaboration to achieve universal health coverage.
To sustain our achievement, we must work together. Achieving universal health coverage is a collective responsibility that involves every one of us: government, health providers, religious leaders, assemblymen, and communities. We must forge stronger collaboration by joining forces with other stakeholders, such as non-governmental organizations and private sectors. We can streamline efforts that enhance the efficiency and reach of our healthcare system. The road ahead may be challenging, but it is one we must walk together.
Medical Superintendent at the Abrodunko Hospital, Dr. Justice Akofi Horrison, commended the National Health Insurance Authority for its contribution to quality health service.
We want to acknowledge as a hospital the role NHIS has been playing, and then the recent changes to its, or improvements, let me say that way, in its aim. Currently, as I stand here, standing on evidence, I'm owed only 1 month of claim submission.
From Abrodunko, Abigail Lisol and Kroma reports for Joy News.
And with less than 5 years to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, experts are questioning Ghana's progress and calling for stronger laws to drive the sustainability agenda. My colleague Maxwell Akloboto reports.
The Sustainable Development Goals, adopted by the United Nations in 2015 as a global framework of 17 targets, are expected to be achieved by 2030. With less than 5 years to the deadline, experts are raising concerns about Ghana's progress. At the stakeholder engagement that brought together professionals from various sectors, the president of the Association of African Sustainability Practitioners, Humphrey Tete, noted that the country lacks an enabling environment to motivate citizens to actively participate in achieving the goals.
And for me, anytime I sleep, what wakes me up is the 5 years is reducing. We are left with just 5 years. And yes, less than that, and Africa seems to be doing nothing. And tell you what, the problem in Ghana is a reflection of what is happening in the bigger African countries. It's just that we don't create the enabling environment. The laws are not there to entice people to really invest. You go to, for the past 15 years, 2015 to years, so 10 years, you've met only 3 of your targets.
He further called for the enactment of laws to regulate sustainability across the different sectors of the country.
You know, sustainability and climate-related issues has moved from just advocacy to accountability. And when it comes to accountability, what it means is that we need to have laws or regulations guiding us in practice. And Africa hasn't got it. We don't have any ESG law in the whole of Africa. Yes, you hear climate laws, you hear some from EPA, you hear some from this. They are all guidelines. We need to put in laws, concrete laws that clearly tells each sector of the economy. And when I say each sector, what I mean is other energy, construction, mining, agriculture, we all have a contribution towards greenhouse gas effect, right? So we need to have a law that mandates all of us to reduce our greenhouse gas emission by a certain percentage every year going into 2030. You go into our parliament, and I don't think there is a climate subcommittee or sustainability subcommittee at parliament. So if they don't even have it, how can they make laws on it?
As the 2030 deadline draws closer, the question of sustainability remains critical. Reporting for Joy News, Maxwell Akloboto.
Also the news this morning, local government minister Ahmed Ibrahim says the inauguration of his ministry's advisory board signals a renewed push to transform local governance into a more participatory, efficient and responsive system, one that reflects the aspiration of Ghanaians. He made the remarks in Ghana when he inaugurated the advisory board of the Ministry of Local Governments, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Our reporter Nola Karen Iyali has more.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will at all times.
That I will at all times.
Well and truly serve.
Well and truly serve.
The Republic of Ghana.
The Republic of Ghana.
At the inauguration of the Ministerial Advisory Board, made up of key actors in the local governance sector, Minister Ahmed Ibrahim stressed the need for stronger collaboration, visionary leadership, and trust to drive meaningful change. He noted that the board will play a crucial role in guiding policy, strengthening accountability, and ensuring inclusive, grassroots-focused decision-making.
We live in a time when citizens demand more accountability, more inclusion, more resource. This board is a testament to our commitment to meet these demands. Let us work together, guided by our shared vision of a Ghana where governance is local, development is inclusive, tradition is respected, and faith communities are empowered. Our collaboration will support the NDC government flagship programs, such as the 24-hour economy, the Big Push infrastructure plan, the youth and women-focused initiatives aimed at promoting inclusive governance, improved sanitation, and urban development and capacity building. To our representatives from the various religious communities, I thank you for standing as pillars for moral guidance, spiritual leadership, and national unity. Your presence on these boards underscores our recognition that national development is incomplete without faith, values, and compassion at its core. To the heads of our partner institutions, NDPC, MPC, and local government service, your strategic insight and institutional experience will be crucial in aligning our work with national planning framework and ensuring that decentralization delivers the real resource for each people.
The minister also emphasized the board's work will impact all parts of the country, from chieftaincy institutions to district-level service delivery, describing the inauguration as a renewed commitment to building a more participatory, efficient, and responsive local governance system that mirrors the aspiration of the people.
The board is not just a mere formality. It is established to provide strategic advice, strengthen policy direction, and ensure participatory decision-making that reflect the aspirations of Ghanaian people at all levels. It serves as a platform for dialogue, collaboration, and shared responsibility, helping us as a ministry to remain focused, responsive, and accountable in the execution of our mandate. As you are well aware, the ministry plays a pivotal role in coordinating decentralization, deepening local governance, and managing chieftaincy and religious affairs, and improving service delivery at the metropolitan, municipal, and district levels. These tasks are multidimensional and require not only technical expertise, but strong partnership, mutual trust, and visionary leadership. As we inaugurate this board today, I'm particularly hopeful that we will receive frank, objective, and forward-looking advice needed to drive reforms in decentralization and local governance. On this note, I hereby declare the Ministerial Advisory Board of the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs duly inaugurated.
For Joy News, Noella Kareniali.
And to wrap the AM news, Kojo is on standby to bring you some business update.
Well, let's do the updates now. And the Ghana Statistical Service has reported a marginal decline in the country's unemployment rate, though youth joblessness continued to pose a major challenge. According to the Statistical Service, the rate fell from 13.3% to 13.1% in Q3 of 2024. Speaking at a news conference, government statistician Dr. Al-Hassan Idrisu made some recommendations to government to improve skills matching in the country.
In 2024, youth unemployment remains alarmingly high at 22.5% for ages 15 to 35 and 32% for ages 15 to 24. This evidence highlights the urgency of expanded and more focused labor market practices and policies, such as retraining and skilling programs to combat skills mismatch and boost employability.
However, the Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Zakari Mumuni, has reiterated Bank of Ghana's commitment of a stable currency despite a marginal depreciation of the cedi witnessed in the previous weeks. His comments follow the central bank's warning to persons who flout the new guidelines on inward remittances. Speaking to Joy Business on the sidelines of the annual general meeting of the National Banking College, Dr. Mumuni allayed fears of further depreciation and called for positive sentiment to drive the stability of the cedi.
There's no reason absolutely to panic. We have measures in place and we will ensure that we do not lose any control of this at all, yes. The governor mentioned this morning and gave assurance to the markets that there's no need to panic at all, and this is where we are. The measures we are implementing are adequate and they are working, and so we should be fine. Yeah. Since we are not in a peg, you should once in a while see these movements. What it is you don't see, they are not sharp. It's just to be sure that these movements are not sharp. There is obviously consistency. The measures that were announced are just to re-emphasize that the cedi is our sole national legal tender, and this is just what it is. You recall a few weeks ago the minister mentioned in Parliament that even for government contracts and everything is going to be in cedis. And so everybody, we all have to work in making sure the cedi remains our legal tender, and then everybody should behave accordingly. And this is exactly what the statement was about yesterday, re-emphasizing the fact that the cedi remains our sole legal tender.
Hey there, welcome back to the AM show. Now, the AM show is sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tanks. Ghana, let's talk water tanks. Do you know the secret to real water storage? It's simple. If your tank doesn't have the tortoise on it, then it's not the correct tank. That's right, the tortoise tank, Syntex tank, is the champion of water tanks. It's strong and durable and built to handle our Ghanaian weather. Rain or shine, Syntex tank has your back. So, my people, go outside, check your tank, and if it doesn't have a tortoise on it, it's time to upgrade. Join the Syntex tank family today and enjoy water storage that's tough like a tortoise. You can call 0244 335 168 to buy now or find one of our 400 agents nationwide. You can also shop online at syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a yet tough. Time now for the news review, and this morning and this Friday, we are joined by Kwame Nkrumah Butio, General Secretary CPP. A little later, we shall be joined by Awal Mohammed, Communication Aid, Bawumia campaign. There was a lot of jamboree at the NPP headquarters yesterday. We'll get into that as well. And Andrew Apia Dankwa, he's a lawyer, legal practitioner, and let's talk politics as well. Yeah. Gentlemen, how's your Friday? And thank you for joining us on the show today.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much.
Did you have a good week?
Yes, and we want to thank the Almighty that He has seen us through to this Friday. It was a good week. It was a mixture of work and politics, and as it's legal vacation too, I got some time to rest.
Okay.
It's been okay.
Are you going for the bar conference a little later?
I wish I could, because, I would say that the Upper West is my second hometown. For my national service, I selected Upper West, and that is where I went. And after national service, I actually applied to stay over, to extend my national service, but because of admission to the law faculty, I had to abandon it. But I still have some political work to do in Accra. But let's see how things pan out. If I'm able to squeeze in a bit of time, I'll go back home.
Okay. Andrew, how's your week been so far?
Yeah, it's been a bit hectic. Alan, it's been a big headache here. I'm not really on vacation. Like my good friend, Kwame Nkrumah Butio. Yeah, but I can't complain.
Okay. Are you preparing to go for the bar conference?
I wish I could, but I'm not sure.
Hey, all of you wishing you could, all of you wishing you could. Who's going to go then?
People go down. A lot of there are so many lawyers.
Okay, but a lot has happened this week. Top of it for us here at Joy News is definitely the crisis, our documentary that brought to the fore the high substance abuse. And stakeholders have had a good conversation. We've started this conversation all week, but yesterday we were quite heavy on it here. We had a dialogue and trying to really understand and also find some solutions if possible. But that's the big one for us here. But also for politicians, there's so much happening by elections, the NPP as well, having some of their members or party stalwarts or those who want to be their flag bearer as well, file their nominations. You tell me what's on your mind. I'll start with you, Kwame.
I would say that the opioid crisis, because it hits close to home. I know quite a number of people over the years who've had issues with drugs, and some, it has really impacted their life. There's one particular young man who actually had a full scholarship to one of the best schools in the UK, but along the way, due to drug issues, I mean, it affected him. And I also have a close friend from secondary school, a senior of mine, and because of drug issues, he ended up sleeping at the Osu Cemetery for his last days. Yes, that is where he was living. I mean, he left home.
Did you know that he was sleeping at the cemetery?
He was. And there are still people who actually sleep. There are drug addicts who sleep at the cemetery, and it really wastes a lot of talent. I've seen many talented, intelligent people who have fallen victim. And I think not only Ghana, worldwide, we really, really need to look at it very critically, very critically. It's really a silent killer. It breaks families and impacts the economy and all that. And I was glad to see the program on it, because it's one of those subjects that sometimes we say it's in jest, when him read and all that, and it becomes funny and we laugh at occasionally the effect that it has on the people, but it's really a destroyer. And in the legal regime too, I suppose some changes could also be made to make sure that drugs are not so easily accessible.
Yeah.
And so that's what's top of my mind.
Okay.
And I know that once you have set the ball rolling, Joy FM and the necessary authorities, and even our own classmates, Ada Alotepapo from Achimota, the head of drug enforcement at Standards Authority, also doing a very good job. So we hope to bring closure to it for Ghana to be a beacon and a pace setter in tackling this drug menace.
Well, we're joined by Awal Mohammed, Communications Aid, Bawumia Campaign. We'll get into that. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
Okay, Andrew, what's on your mind?
This week should be what's called a quality fight against opioid.
Patu Nimred.
But when I hear it, I think about Liverpool.
You think about what?
Liverpool and Kotoko.
You support the West team. Liverpool. Hey. You will walk alone. No. You will walk alone. No.
You never walk alone.
Anyway.
In fact, I must comment, Kwame you mentioned, we were mates in secondary school. So one of our mates, Dr. Ralph Tete Ablalu, and Adakapo have taken upon themselves give a little back to Ghana by undertaking radical education of our young compatriots on the dangers of drug, of abusing drug. I've seen your survey, or not your survey, I think a report by the Minister, George
Yes.
The facts being placed there are frightening.
Yes.
I think probably Ralph and other, because I didn't know these facts, but seeing them now, it's really frightening. So for me, I think all of us as should take a cue from these Detroits who, in spite of their heavy schedule, took it upon themselves to undertake this campaign to educate our young people on the dangers of of drugs. You mentioned Red. I think Tramadol also. understand cocaine. I couldn't believe it, cocaine.
Yes, 12% of these young kids are on cocaine.
Yeah, so beyond, so even if individuals can take upon themselves and then take this campaign, then government does not really have a choice. Government needs to take this battle head on. I think I also need to comment Joy FM or multimedia. Multimedia for undertaking this campaign. And I think I want to reiterate your position. We need to look at the regime also. Even we want to reclassify some of these. Look, I think one of the biggest issues that's causing this problem is the ease of access and how cheap these drugs are. I understand they are highly resistant. They quickly build resistance, and so you need more to get the effect. I think we need to look at the regime also, if it means we need to reclassify most of these drugs and make them only accessible by prescription. But we need to, as a people, to tackle this issue.
We'll definitely spend some good time on this very important topic, especially because even for us here, we put a lot of effort in the research, in the hotline documentary, and so we'll spend a lot of time on it. But Awal, how was yesterday for you? How's the week been for you?
Yeah, yesterday was really elating because we're happy to see how the entire party, especially from the top people to the down, all supporting Dr. Bawumia for his filing of nominations and so on. But I will talk about the police press release about the 8 people that they said they had arrested and sent to court. And they are supposed to be back in court today, according to the police. But unfortunately, there are gaps with the press release. They did not tell us which courts, because we have a lot of circuit courts in Accra. But they said an Accra Circuit Court. So which of the courts, we don't know.
That's very typical of statements. You hear an Accra Circuit Court,
yes.
Or you hear an Accra High Court. It's not very novel if you don't see the particular circuit court.
It is supposed to be, because I have really I have covered court for some time, for 3 years for Ghana News Agency. So I know that the courts have names. In Accra here, even at where the court complex is, we have 10 different courts. For instance, when, say, Obama and some few other party people were sent there, Court 8, Court 9 was used and so on. So we're hoping to know which of the courts, because the police told us that they sent them to court, they were granted bail of 80,000 cedis, and there were no media to cover. Today, we do not know which of the courts, so that at least we could go and witness the people. They did not also show us the pictures of those they have arrested. So it leaves us with a lot of doubt that you will not be surprised that today they can also come with a press release to say that these people have been fined and they have been really released, or they have paid the fine and they've been released. So we want the police to come out clearly and tell us which of the courts, so that the media could go and cover, so that we could get the pictures of those they have arrested, so that we can reconcile it with the videos that we have on our phones.
Okay. And if the police doesn't do that, you don't have confidence in them that they will see this to the last.
So in the spirit of transparency, in the spirit of good governance, we believe that what they usually do on their pages, whoever they arrest, they put something on the face of the person, but at least you see the person on their Facebook page. But why is it that these 8 people, only these 8 people that they have arrested them, according to them, nobody, the media were not invited to the court for them to do the prosecution. They did all the prosecution, they did everything, and they did not also specify which court, which judge, and so on, who was even the prosecutor in the case. They only gave us only the statement to say that this is what they have done ahead of Akwatia on Tuesday. So that is the reason we want to see that indeed real action has been really done by the police.
Okay. For lawyers, help some bits of education before we go into front of the newspaper, what's on the newspapers. So for the NPP insisting that they have the video, I mean, of course, we have seen videos. They also can see persons beyond what the police is doing. Can they decide to want to seek justice for themselves by reporting, seeking justice in courts, doing things differently by not just depending on the police wanting to see this to the latter in terms of justice? Can they do something?
Under the Constitution, it's only the Attorney General who directs prosecutions in the country. But every individual has a right to report any crime at all. So, and there are many ways. You can walk to the nearest police station, you can petition, you can submit a petition. The doors to justice are open to everybody at any time. So if in the end, eventually the identity of these 8 people come out and my friend and others believe that these are not the people in the videos, they can still report those people, try and get their identities if they don't know their identities yet, and push for them to be prosecuted. Okay. So these 8, if they are not the 8 on the phone, it doesn't really stop them. But I also agree with sometimes in the spirit of transparency, because you know court proceedings, unless it has to do with a minor or it's a matrimonial case, is open to the public. So sometimes it's okay to give them the details they want. But when it's an issue of such high tension and volatility, sometimes the security agencies, for their own purposes, may want to submit information upon request and not just throw it out there. Because sometimes you have to look at the life of the suspect or accused person also. Okay. Because they being arrested does not mean they are guilty. They are innocent until...
But in this one, they pleaded guilty according to the police.
Okay. If they if they pleaded guilty, it stops the court from using valuable state resources and time and all that, which is okay if they pleaded guilty. So certainly,
statements also suggested
but you see, before the plea because Kwame was talking about the process from the arrest to when they were put, during that process, they were innocent for all intents and purposes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Until they went on to plead guilty.
Guilty, yes.
Yeah. So once they have pleaded guilty, a request can be made that we want the identity of these people. And it is right to ask for their identity. It doesn't mean that they want to go after them. I mean, just for purposes of future security. That means that these people, if you see them around any election, they could be a menace. But there's a delicate balance there. If the situation is so volatile that people may want to come after them to harm them, then we have to look at the situation. It's not usually it's the police and maybe those directly related to the.
But you see, look at the killers of the immigration man.
Yes,
it is always open. You will see the families; they will want to even pounce on the person. But this one, we're not doing anything. We are saying that. No. I'm saying that we're saying that we know their identities, we know where they are, and so on. But we do not want to really take their law into our own hands.
Would you agree with me that for some cases, journalists are so very interested in it that even when they're not invited, or people are so interested, or family members or loved ones are so interested that they follow it to the latter, they have their phones. It's not intentional that the police, you'd see that each time they're even taking the suspects out, they're nearly covered, they're protecting them, they whisk them into the courtroom. So it's not that the police intentionally wants to
you see, in this case, you don't even know when the police arrested them.
Okay.
We didn't hear when they arrested them. I remember I was on this platform when they said they arrested 2 people. Then later, the only release we saw from the police is that they have arrested 8 and they will process them before court.
Yeah.
And they did not show any of the courts. Whether then we received a statement that we have sent them to court 80,000 cedis bail. They all pleaded guilty, and the case will be done today. They didn't even write whether it was adjourned to today for sentencing or continuation or anything, even though they had pleaded guilty. What I know, I'm not a lawyer, but as a reporter in the court, what I know is that if the person comes to plead guilty, is convicted on his own plea, then the sentencing can take place at a later date.
Yeah. That's the information.
It's not on the statement like that, because I have really worked on these things in the newsroom for some time. So when I saw it, I knew that indeed there are gaps. That is the reason I'm asking these questions. That at least, did they plead guilty? When they pleaded guilty, did the court convict them on their own plea? Then sentencing was deferred. So that's the reason
Daily
we're calling on the
reported
police.
so. Daily Graphic reported that they pleaded guilty.
Yes.
The court is, so they've been convicted, but they're waiting sentences.
But exactly, they actually granted them bail.
Yes.
And per the graphic report, and they're going to sentence them, I think, today.
Okay.
Yes.
So I am only looking at the press release from the Ghana Police Service, which is still on their
website, would they not?
Yes.
Anyway, but let me understand. Prior to you requesting that the police should prosecute, did you take keen interest in wanting to? Well, NPP as a party, our member has been assaulted or violated, so we're going to the police. You're going to report. You like the way every other citizen would do. I feel violated. I'm going to the police. The reports, then the police, and then we'll continue. Did you do that?
Yeah, we did that because Nana Lloyd, when they lodged the complaint, and when they said they had arrested 2 people. On the same day that they said they had arrested 2 people, Nana Lloyd was around Palace Mall. That is our deputy national organizer who was beaten. He was arrested around, he was around Palace Mall. It was a Friday. He met one of the suspects, even though they did not show their pictures and so on. Because I'm telling you that because we know each other, he saw one of the gentlemen whose name was there that he was in custody. So he tried and he took his video. Then he called the police investigator in the case and asked, but you said you have arrested these people. They are in your custody. Then the police said, yes, it's true. He said, okay, see this. Then he showed him the video. He said, oh, okay, you bring the medical report that we have asked you to go and bring so that at least we can work on it. So according to Nana Lloyd, that was the day that he decided not to follow up on the case again. Because the police is not telling him the truth again. And the police had not also come out.
That's if that's the case,
exactly. So that's the reason we are saying that if really you have said that you have arrested 8, as you do, say Obama only wrote something on his Facebook page. When you arrested him, say Obama do not really post his pictures on Facebook. The first thing they did was to snap his picture with handcuffs. The first thing we saw was on NDC people's platforms without the face covered.
But not on the police platform.
Later, we saw on the police platform the face covered. How did the NDC get the picture? I saw it on Odijita Makule's page.
Okay, but
how did the NDC people get the picture?
Lawyers, you people should help me here.
But you know, he said something important that Nana Lloyd was one of. But so that means that Nana Lloyd is likely to be a complainant.
He is a complainant.
And the complainants are meant to know the courtroom, the court date, the court time. So it's possible Nana Lloyd may know.
He doesn't know.
Oh, then
he doesn't. He doesn't know which of them. Yes, he doesn't know.
Because the complainant is supposed to be part of the whole process.
Yeah. That's why when we get a privilege of getting power, we need to build institutions. yeah, because you were in power for 8 years. We saw Ayawaso West were gone. What has happened to anybody there? No. Let's see.
We saw reforms after I was
what reforms? Has there been any conviction?
Yes.
No, but has there been any conviction?
The reforms?
Listen, but has there been any conviction?
There is a ban on vigilantism in this country, and there's a law. Today, you can be arrested and jailed.
8 of our compatriots died in Techiman.
That's not correct. 8 people, 6 people
8 of our compatriots.
No, 6 people you let's say 1 in an election.
You let's say even 1. Let's say even 1.
In Techiman, it was only 2 people.
Let's say even 1. I'm talking about 2020.
Yeah, 2 people died in Techiman.
You let's say it's even 1 person. 1 person died in an election. 1 Ghanaian. What did they do? And you see, so when you get the privilege of being granted power, use that power to build institutions. I use that power to do your partisan thing. And then so, even though what you're saying is right, would I be wrong if I say you do not have the moral right to be saying what you are
wrong because
you had for 8 years you were in power. For 8 years. For 8 years you used that power to pack our police with party people. You killed the spirit of meritocracy in this country for 8 years. And today, no, that's what I'm saying. Even though because you're a citizen, you always retain rights. I'm saying you had the privilege of changing the system, of building the system, and you didn't do that.
We did.
You killed the system.
Is this the same police service that you had trust in 8 years?
You see, it is about leadership. It's about leadership. Let me just give you a simple scenario. Initially, when Dampare was IGP, when you're driving from here to Kumasi, you don't see any barrier. He took all the barriers off. Now, a new IGP has come. There are about 5 barriers between Accra and Kumasi. So it's about leadership. And because they also are being asked what to do and what not to do, definitely they go on instructions and so on. So when you are really talking about the police, you talk about the leadership because the person down there.
With Chris Lloyd, that's the name, isn't it?
Yes, Chris
Case
Lloyd.
in point, do you think that the IGP or the leadership will really be in agreement in full glare violation of the law like this? You don't think that there's usually that gap between leadership and as well personnel? Because I cannot see how a leader will agree to this.
So Obama was granted bail. The court certified that he had been granted bail. He had met all the sureties. But it was left to the police to do their checks to see whether indeed they were justified. On that day that they were supposed to do that, we were told that the police who is in charge is at funeral somewhere. And that kept Sir Obama from Friday to Monday before he was able to be released.
Yes.
Because Sir Obama is someone who is an ardent critic of Ionu.
Listen.
Oh.
Yes, it is public knowledge. Yes, he's
Andrew,
an ardent critic of Ionu.
You see, if you have a police force filled with people who are there based on merit, if you have a police force filled with people who understand that their job is to dispense with justice, you understand? Then it will be very difficult for politicians to control them. So this is an allegation. But knowing how we do things in Ghana, it could be possible that what he's saying happened. It could be. But then, but then it then comes back to the people who've had the privilege, the opportunity of impacting the institutions that are meant to guarantee us our rights. Because people get power and they play with it. People get power and they do not understand that they do not have the power for their own sake, but to create systems that would make it easy for us to achieve the purpose for this, our constitution, which is to guarantee our lives, to guarantee our liberties, and to guarantee us our right to pursue our own happiness. I'm saying for 8 years, when they had the opportunity,
he's countering it. He's telling you that.
He's countering
it that it's about the leadership.
So for 8 years, His Excellency Dr. Bawumia was the head of the police council.
And there are a lot of
So he's no longer.
No, but what I'm saying is that the weaknesses in the police institution, which is causing the wahala he's saying here, can be attributable to the lack of leadership shown by His Excellency Dr. Bawumia when he had the opportunity of leading the police council. Okay, so, for instance, I'm saying here.
Kwame, I'll come to you for some balance.
You see, I'm saying here that for 8 years, and we heard the former Minister of Interior say last year that he was going to give slots. I don't know if you have.
No, it was the police.
When I'm speaking, let me finish speaking. The Interior Minister on the floor of Parliament. On the floor of Parliament said, you can read that he was going to give slots during their primaries, the MPP parliamentary primaries. One of the biggest campaign promises by the MP aspirants was that when they come, we are going to give slots to their party apparatus into the security services. It was one of the biggest campaign promises. And so I'm saying that you weaken the police institution by bypassing the principle of meritocracy. And so you have a police force which, for all intents and purposes, do not understand the hallowed job that has been granted them. I recall last year when Hobson was
was arrested. The police themselves were saying that, oh, but orders from above. If you're a policeman who understands your job, nobody will give you order from above for you to breach the law. And I'm saying that when they had the
That's nearly impossible. I mean, I've not had a lot of experiences, but I like to think that that's nearly impossible for a perfect policeman not to obey order from above.
Order from above. You see, when a policeman has or believes that you have not committed a crime, there should not be any order from a non-policeman. So when I say order from above, it's not from the IGP.
Okay.
No. When it's order from above, it's not from the IGP. It's from non-police people.
There's clarity.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because they weaken the police people, because they bypass, sidestep all the principles of meritocracy, today they are suffering. What happens?
We all will suffer.
Exactly.
Okay, Kwame, let's have some balance to this. So Awal believes that it's really not about the personnel, it's about the leadership, right? Andrew counters it by saying that if it is the leadership, let's go beyond the IGP. The vice presidents had even a much more superior position.
Yeah.
So then if it is leadership, then we may have to even go beyond the IGP. How can you find a balance to this?
Yeah, you know...
and while you respond to this too as well.
You know, even our judicial system is aware that a lot of times there's a perception of bias by the authorities, either for or against a person. And even with court judgments, you can have a court judge, you can have a judge removed from your case if you feel that the judge is biased against you. The same way, if you look at our institutions, because of the way the appointments are done by the executive, it is always a problem when new heads are appointed. Whoever is not part of the appointing authority may feel that some decisions are taken against them. And sometimes you have to look at the decision carefully to know whether that is the truth or not. You have to get to the ground and do your investigations. Because sometimes a decision taken by the authorities may look like it is a blatant disregard of the laid down procedures. But you go into it and realize that maybe things were massaged a bit. Sometimes things may look like it was done well. You go into it and you realize it is not so. So I think both gentlemen are right in a way, because I mean, we can't mince words that the Ayawa SOS, not much has come out of it. And I think I once went to a place where I heard a gentleman bragging about his role in Ayawa SOS and how he had pushed this person and done this. And those around him were laughing. And there's somebody that I respect. If you go to his status, he's sharing all kinds of Bible verses. And yeah, he was, you know, it's a serious issue. And Andrew spoke of our Constitution, protecting the Constitution. It goes down to our Constitution. Admittedly, the 1992 Constitution, as much as it has worked for us so far, it has a few
cracks.
I mean, we have to be totally honest to ourselves. The 1992 Constitution was coming from a military government to a civilian situation. And the military government then had to protect itself, even though they felt justified in what they did. So a little too much power was given to the executive. The 1992 Constitution gives too much power to the executive to appoint the police, to appoint this, to appoint that. We need to find a way to make the voice of probably the Council of State more powerful. It always says appoint upon the advice of the Council of State.
People have questioned how the Council of State is they are also appointed.
Those also appointed. You know, some are appointed by the state, some are voted for.
Yes.
If we could expand that and make more of them voted for and make their view binding on the executive so that you don't have that total power to appoint people. Because when you appoint the people, by all means, people are going to think that they are biased in one way or the other. So it all goes down to the Constitution.
I'm very curious to hear what you'd say about you not seeming to have a challenge with the personnel, the people underneath the leadership of the police, and you seem to be eyeing the IGP.
Yes.
But Andrew tells you that former Vice President had a superior position.
You see, today he is not in charge. We're talking about someone who is in charge. My brother made a very fundamental issue that everyone is talking about, that the appointment of the IGP. When you go to the UK, it's not done as it is done like this. They do it until the person goes on retirement, then another person is appointed. But in Ghana, your tenure is coterminous with the government that appointed you. And that is problematic. That is the reason the order from above can affect any police officer. Because today, if someone is arrested, they do not take instruction. There's personnel over there don't take instruction when they say it's order from above. They take instruction from a superior police officer. Because the IGP will be called that this thing has happened here. He will call the commander there. Then the commander will tell the personnel there that is an order from above. But the person who communicated the order from above is the district commander. And it also came from up.
What are correct? It could be somebody who is a non-security person.
Yeah. Exactly. You see,
I have a question.
No civilian will be able to really tell the police.
Well, I have a question. Yes. For example, if Dampare was still IGP, do you anticipate or envisage that you won't have this order from above? Do you anticipate this police officer who went for a funeral not happening? Do you anticipate it?
See, we have a fundamental problem with our police, to be very honest, and how the civilian, especially the politician.
So it's not the leadership then?
It's the leadership. That's why I'm saying that. You see, if the person is aware that his tenure is tied to a politician, the person tends to respect whatever the politician or follow what the politician has asked him to do.
How do you explain a police officer who is at a funeral to the tenure of an IGP?
So you see,
you don't think that it is really the people that are admitted into the security service? You don't think that?
You see,
it is the leadership for you?
You see, he is not the only one who is supposed to do that work. Because it's verification that we're talking about. Go and verify the sureties. And there is one officer that they have assigned to do that, and the officer is not there. You should get another person to go and do it.
Okay.
You understand? That's why I'm saying that. Sometimes, because these are institutions that are under the IG, but let me just address this Iowa West Ogun thing. When it happened, that was the only time in the history of this country that we had a commission of inquiry to sit after a by-elections.
Because of the nature of what happened there.
No.
We wouldn't have needed a commission of inquiry.
Did you see what happened in Chereponi? Someone was caught on video shooting people in Chereponi. And in Talensi as well, okay. The Interior Minister had to say violence begets violence, you remember. So all these things happened. It was not really, not compared to what happened in Iowa West Ogun, but we had a commission of inquiry. After their recommendation, we had to disband Kandahar Boys, Bolga Bulldogs, Delta Force, and others, because if you keep them there, they can be jailed up to 10 years. And that is the law in this country. So at least we've seen something coming out of the Iowa West Ogun Commission. Now you cannot really put these people together and call them vigilante or party security and so on. But the way we are going, the NDC has a green army now. And the Green Army perpetuated what happened in Ayawasu Ablikwanov. So it is leaving us with no option. If the police is not really showing us that indeed they can protect us, it will leave us with no option than to activate these boys so that they can protect our party people.
Okay, the NDC has Green Army, the NPP doesn't have anything.
We don't have. We disbanded Kandahar Boys. We disbanded Delta Force. You remember a gentleman was arrested in Kumasi when he said that when we use them for elections, after the elections, we brought in a law and tried to jail them. So he is happy what happened to us because they were protecting us, but we decided not to. We used the power to also persecute them. And he is happy what happened. He was arrested and eventually brought to Accra and so on. So we do not have these party security now. And that is the reason we are telling the police that show us that you will protect us, you will be transparent enough for us to know that indeed the law is working. Then we will not rely on our party security. But if you are not showing us that indeed you can protect us, because if the police were standing there when Nana Lloyd was assaulted, when I heard the IGP saying that he has sent 5,000 people to Akwatia.
He has sent 600.
Yes, I said 5,000. What do you need 5,000? It's a strategy, because when Hawa Kumsi was beaten, over 20 police officers were standing there. They couldn't arrest a single individual.
Okay. We just might come back to what's in front of the newspapers. I mean, I remember that yesterday the NPP headquarters was buzzing. We'll touch on that. But I'd like us to stay a little bit longer on the opioid conversation. Yesterday we had a dialogue, and I want to bring you some excerpts of it to take a watch, and then we can talk about it.
The matter is, food in red is not tramadol. A lot of the people are giving the impression that it is tramadol, but it isn't. So now to your question. And I would answer your question this way, from Prof's point. I have happened to practice in the UK significantly and in the European Union in Ghana. And I have seen different approaches to addiction management. I've seen the Holland model, which is what we call the open access model, where they actually create use centers. I've seen the UK model where we do the needle exchange and we do methadone and exchange and other things. And I've actually, at a point in my career, operated when I was director of pharmacy operations for Boots UK, one of the biggest drug exchange programs around the east of England. So what I'm telling you is what Prof said is not palatable, but it is not too far from the truth. You can check the data. I know people who have gone on treatment programs. When I first took over as director in 2006, and I'm talking in 2025, and sometimes I visit branches of Boots because I've moved on, and they are still coming in for exchange. You are talking of 19 years later.
59% of our respondents in the tertiary institutions are on one, they call it weed edibles, 59%.
Weed edibles. 15, more than half of them.
More than half. And then the scary part is the shisha and hookah. And ordinary shisha should not have been here. But I understand now they mix some substance with the shisha and hookahs that are in our various drinking spots and bars. That is 49%.
Wow, almost half.
Yes. Prescription drugs, 41%. That is where and these are tertiary institutions. Codeine, cough syrups, 23%. Inhalants, I hear there is something called balloons or something. They blow.
Yeah.
The inhalants are not those ones. So which ones are the inhalants? The glue, the turpentine. 16%. Whoa. And then you'll be amazed to know that 12% of our university and tertiary students are abusing cocaine. The truth is that it is even closer than you can even imagine. And everywhere I've spoken about this opioid menace, I make mention of the fact that everybody is at risk. You'll be surprised that even within your studios, if you look well, based on the educations they give you, if you start looking around, you'll find people around you who are using it. And like Dr. rightly said, when you interact with them, the kind of things they tell you, and for a young man who knows that it can extend his sexual duration, it is one motivation to keep him going. Unless he knows the dangers associated with it. Because usually when they are pitching it to you, they pitch it in a way that is more attractive. You don't get to hear about the challenges and side effects. And so it is a conversation that must be had in churches, everywhere we find ourselves. I've said time without number that this problem is even bigger than the Galamsey problem we have. I met a group from Liberia, they are drug enforcement. They came into Ghana and then they were gracious enough to visit me. They shared some carry information with me. And then I was at one of the international conferences and I met another person from one of our sister countries within the West African sub-region. Apparently, he tells me that, I don't want to mention the name of the country because of international issues, but he tells me that they have already lost 20% of their youth. So, just drug menace. To the extent that in that particular country, they even dig dead bodies out, grind their bones, mix it with the opiates, because now the ordinary opiates don't even get them high anymore. Yes. Yeah. And I've seen a documentary to that effect. Yeah.
Is there something in bones? I'm sorry, I'm just asking the experts quickly before we come back to the minister. Is there something in bones that creates a high?
Yeah. So there are compounds in bones, dry bones, that when you combine, they have a kind of a cumulative effect, a combination of symbiotic effects with the drugs of abuse. That will get you high. We have some also in the steam of gas, fuel. And some from fecal matter.
And teeth. And oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
people take these opioids and they get the euphoria associated with it. So it gives you that feeling of, okay, I am no more in pain, I am happy, I feel I'm in a good place. It gives you that feeling of good place. It is because of the triggering of the endorphins. So that is how come people get excited when they use these opioids. Traditionally, in the clinical setting, when clinicians prescribe these opioids for you, it is given to you for a period, for a condition. No clinician, because of the psychoactive nature of the products, will put you on opioids on long-term basis. It is normally on short-term, except for exceptional circumstances. They normally will not give you a long term because they know the potential to get addicted is high. And in the submission made when you were doing your presentation, you noted that in Ghana, the legal ones in terms of tramadol is 50 and 100 milligram. And as mentioned earlier, between 2018-2019, when we had the issue of the tramadol abuse, there was the need for us to get an EI to cause the ban for codeine-containing cough syrups. So currently, codeine-containing cough syrups are banned in Ghana, and tramadol was included to the list of controlled substances. Internationally, tramadol is not one, but it has been reclassified as such to enable us to put in the necessary regulatory measures in place to regulate that space. And then recently, we got the issue of tapentadol coming in. Currently, the FDA does not have any form of tapentadol registered for use. It is not in our standard treatment guidelines for use in Ghana as well. So any that you see on the market is not a registered product.
So it's all illegal at the moment?
Currently, yes. All the strengths you are talking about are illegal.
With certain cases, with certain situations, we don't want to be seen as heavy-handed. We want the society to recognize that, yes, we always say police is your friend. So in the management of these things, we don't want a situation where we come in hard and heavy. We have seen in the past that these have not necessarily helped because it just makes people go very much underground. So we have to take into consideration the human rights of people. So I wouldn't say the bail situation would significantly change what is happening. But definitely, as I said, the collaborative aspect would go a long way.
Solutions alone are not enough. We must approach with unity. Chiefs, pastors, imams, teachers, parents, and the media all have a role in turning the narrative from shame to support. In Ecclesiastes 4:12, it said, a three-strand cord is not easily broken. But the ancestors of Nunya Dume taught that a rope tied together by many strands can never be broken. If Ghana ties its strands, policy, healthcare, education, community, and compassion, we can break the chains of opioids. We can save not only individuals, but the very soul of our nation's future. Let us not wait until another generation is lost to the bitter tree. Let us act together now.
So that was us trying hard to break the chain. So I promise, gentlemen, when I was young and I heard about cocaine, I thought it was I thought it was for the elite. You must be very rich to be able to even afford it. Now, to see the data saying that 12% of our tertiary students are on cocaine, I really am surprised. 59 weed edibles, and 49% as well shisha. But the 12% is even shocking me most, because I didn't think that if you comb through this country, you didn't even find cocaine. But the documentary brought to the fore that somebody who is unemployed is even on cocaine. How can they even afford it? Andrew, you have just heard what our stakeholders have said.
It's scary, and it could be linked to the rise in crime also. Because if cocaine is perceived to be that expensive, and the unemployed are on, then how do they? In fact, the bulls bit is the one that shocked me, because you see, if you don't take care, even grave looting, murder and things could even, because when they get that hooked on it, like they are saying, then all of us will be at risk. So the police should come out. I heard the police were saying that no, they don't want to come out. They should come out. It's not. It should go just beyond trying to use education and or even the regulation to solve the issue. But it's illegal also. They shouldn't be afraid of enforcing the law.
Kwame, when we engaged with the narcotics control here on the show, what I understood was that their target really is not about it's not on the person who is using it. It's the supplier. They're focused on the supply chain.
They hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
As somebody who, part of my practice is also criminal law. Okay. And sometimes you realize that the real culprits are the suppliers, you see, not the users. Even though it's illegal to use, Mrs. Ada Alotepapo spoke of endorphins. You know, I've done a bit of science. I know about endorphins, dopamine, and depression, and all that. A lot of these street children sometimes do not have anybody looking after them. You know, sometimes you get to the traffic lights and you realize that this particular street boy, you've known him for years. You know, some of them, I know them by name. You exchange numbers. You try and help them with jobs and all that. What are you going to replace the drugs with? Because the human system needs this dopamine, these endorphins, to beat depression, to have a sense of well-being. You understand me? Yeah. And Madam Nropenin of the police force spoke of bail and all that. Sometimes, you know, the legal regime now, possession of certain narcotics, 10 years minimum. Yeah. You understand me? And sometimes you find these young boys on the streets, maybe his mother may have been a hawker or maybe a night worker, to use diplomatic language. His father too may have been not too well to do. You know, they're actually children born onto the streets and left to fend for them. So I've done cases where I had a client who was born onto the streets from the age of 2, 3. He was fending for himself. And in his teens, he was a truck pusher, arrested by the police and all that. But we managed to reach an agreement of sorts. It was not about possession of drugs, but it was talking about how some of his compatriots, I mean, the moment you are born, you are there. You're like an animal. You have to fend for yourself. You don't know whether you live to see tomorrow. You don't know whether you eat tomorrow. What do you do to keep yourself from depression? Some of them, I suspect, even to do that to keep away from crime. I mean, to drown their sorrows. Yeah. And it's not restricted to the poor or the rich. It's throughout. You have individuals born into rich homes who are also into drugs because they don't get that love and affection from home. Some too, they get too much love and affection. They get a sense of entitlement. If things don't go well for you, then you turn to the drugs. So it's a very delicate balance. It was said that the mosques, the churches should talk about it. They should talk about it. All of us have the little we can do. Yeah. When you meet somebody, if it's a kind word they need, give it to them. If it's criticism they need, give it to them. We have to be sensible within ourselves and spread that sense. Otherwise, this drug menace is not going to stop anytime soon. I mean, I even know an individual. I went for holidays in the States long ago, and he told me that when he wakes up in the morning, he's so depressed that he takes, I don't want to mention it on air, otherwise these
12% of the students in the university. So it means if there are 100, about 12 people in the university are on it. And if you look at the statistics, if it is to talk about numbers, you have them in thousands if you're not careful. So I think let me commend him. Again, you see, when you were showing the videos, I saw one of the areas in Kumasi. You remember when Muntakatu, yes, when Muntakatu came, he said it, that he has given the police in Kumasi stand behind the tanker and is doing it. You understand? You see, what you said it's expensive. It's not expensive when you go to the ghettos.
Okay.
It's cheap. Because those who bring it, they bring it from these African countries. This way, traditionally, we were thinking tramadol is red, not knowing that it's one can just take the entire sachet, the entire. This man, the amount in front of him, even if you charge him 10 million, he'll be able to pay it.
Can afford it.
He has paid it, and he's now roaming the streets of Tamale.
Then it begs what all of you are saying. The laws must be looked at to be able to nip this in the bud.
Yeah, the names, but no one is arresting them.
2 aspirants or hopefuls who picked their
time. But I think within the party, within the NPP itself right now, I think he's formidable. Okay. You see the array of MPs that are following him. So last year they were saying that within the party, from what I'm seeing, with the array of MPs following him,
to favor him. Indeed, when we're in government, a lot of people said that party officials, government officials were shipped to support him. Today, we are in opposition.
But it can be railing from the past.
No, you see, the thing is that we have over 300,000 people going to vote. Out of the 300,000, you have over 240,000 being the polling station executives. So even if you get the national executives, the entire national executive saying that it is you they want, or the entire MP saying it is you they want, you will have to go and face the 5 people at the polling station. So it is not really about it being skewed in his favor, but a lot of the party people have realized that we need power in 2028. And if we need power, we have to get the most prepared person. For the last 16 years of his life, he has been nurtured by the party from an opposition running mate twice, a vice president twice. You get it. And again, the NDC is presenting a new candidate altogether to the elections. And again, if you check our history in this country, almost all those who had been president were once an aspirant. The person loses, and later the person wins the elections again.
So did you?
So he is the old face. He's the old face in all the elections.
With this your analogy, did you anticipate his losing last in 2024 election?
But you see, when we said we were breaking the 8, it is something extraordinary that had never happened that we said we wanted to do. We knew that after 8 years, there would be some inertia, there would be some voting apathy and so on, as it happened in 2008, and that has happened for the NDC and so on. But we were trying to at least break the 8 jinx that has been there.
Okay. But for you this year, you don't think that it's been skewed to his favor?
No, it cannot be skewed to his favor. He is the most prepared, which the entire party people are aware amongst those who are contesting him. He's someone who has run around in this country not less than 5 times in every nook and cranny, campaigning. So even if the NDC is to present whoever they present, he has the competitive advantage of you are not going to introduce to anyone.
Okay.
You are only going to shape the policies that will move him to win the elections in 2020. And again, he has already garnered 41%, 41.7%, nearly 42%.
But let's talk about. I mean, all 5. He's not.
So Kwame,
I listened to all 5. And I have to admit, some of them spoke very well. And some too, they were just speaking English. There wasn't really any substance. And others too, interestingly, I realized that they spoke from the heart without mentioning names. They spoke because of some experiences they had had in the past. But at the end of the day, it's about Ghana and what you can do for the country. So I hope the delegates listen closely to them and see who is not talking because of past experiences and wants to come and is seeking closure. Or those who just know how to speak English and have good speech writers. But those who know what is happening on the ground, because it's about what is happening on the ground. If you look at the Ghanaian pyramid, the suffering majority are at the base, and the enjoying minority are at the top. You have to know what is happening at the base to move the country forward. And the 240,000 polling station executives, but they should listen closely to who is going to help those at the base, and not they themselves. Because I know sometimes money exchanges hands here and there. I mean, I know people who are polling station executives and NPP and all that. So, but talking about, I have to be fair. I mean, Dr. Bawumia's father was a former minister in the CPP, same as His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. So I see them, all of them, as comrades, having come from there. But then I read somewhere that Dr. Bawumia's form picking was the only one that was on the official NPP handle. Okay. The video. Yeah, so you see, so a strong internal.
But we're actually wrapping up. We'll discuss this further in now.
A strong internal democracy is important for every party.
Right.
If you don't practice the democracy well, you don't do things well at the political party level, it seeps into the national level. So if there's anything like that, I'll plead with my brother, who I admire very well.
Because I'm from Bawumia.
Okay, in 30 seconds.
Yes. The thing is that when we're campaigning, the official handle was given to one of our boys to be able to really stream live what Dr. Bawumia was doing throughout the campaign in 2024. So when we were doing this event yesterday, the same person who
now belongs to your camp,
who is with our camp,
still has access to that.
He still had access and started doing the streaming. Later, we told him that it was wrong, and he really stopped it because
it's for you to judge.
It's not really the national executive.
But gentlemen, thank you so
much. Yes, because I know the general secretary.
Yeah, it's not the general secretary. Yes, it's one of our guys.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen, for starting your Friday morning with us. We've been here with Awal Mohammed as well, Andrew Apia, and also Kwame Nkrumah Botu. Thank you. Enjoy your weekend. There's more on our big stories if you surely stay with us.
All right, so welcome back again to the AM show. The show is sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and also by Syntex Tanks. Well, let's talk about the MPP race to elect a flag bearer. I mean, by close of nomination yesterday, 5 people had put themselves up to be elected as one of them to be elected as a flag bearer. We have Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Kennedy Ejapon. We have Kwabena Eje Ejapon. You have Brian Achampon, and also you have Dr. Osei Educhum. These are the people vying for the top shot in the MPP. And today we're going to talk to a member of the Bawumia campaign. Fatimatu Abubakar is a former Minister of Information. She joins us in the studio. Hi, good morning.
Hello, Kojo. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Not bad.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. How has it's been, is it 8 months away from government? How's the opposition been for you?
I feel blessed.
Hey.
I feel blessed. It hasn't been bad at all. Sometimes we lose sight of certain things and don't behave like people who are supposed to be grateful to God. Okay. But upon reflection, I've had the time to reflect, look back, and say, things. God has been good to me. Okay. I'm 38. I'll be 39 next month.
Wow.
To have had the opportunity to serve in multiple capacities under President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's governments. It wasn't because I was the most qualified, most outstanding, most this. But the fact that I put in the work and God granted me the favor to catch the attention of the then president and also to serve successfully over an 8-year period without a scandal, without any noise, without come to Yoko, come here, any accusations. I feel fulfilled that when duty called, I was able to step to the plate, contribute my best to developing our country and living gracefully and with my integrity intact.
So you are
I feel fulfilled.
One of the young people who were built by the...
Yes. And the youngest in our cabinet at the time.
Oh, yes. Because I guess you would have been around 30...
Yes. When I became a campaign aide to President Akufo-Addo, I was about 27 years old. Oh. And then when we came to government, I was 30 when I got my first appointment.
You are blessed indeed. And I read you are in the office of the old man.
Yes.
How is he?
He's doing great. He's doing so well. I believe you've seen some reels or pictures of him at a few events or a few programs we've attended recently, including the one-week observation of the Asante Hima. And the girls have been asking me, Minister, what's his skincare routine? He looks so good.
He does.
I'll see comments on my reels. Oh wow! Tell the old man offer skincare routine in Hukie. So he is blessed at 81. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Okay.
He's done his best. His legacy is known. Is there for all to see. And even those who want to deny it, there are areas they look back and say, you know what? We have to give this man his flowers. STEM education, B-STEM, trying to change the systems of governance that were not working, trying to harmonize our data, digitize our data, contribute to hospital infrastructure in the country. He commissioned not less than 40 hospitals in the 8-year period and embarked on a very aggressive agenda to ensure that over 81 districts in the country that did not have district hospitals were given the benefit of state-of-the-art district hospitals. And the Agenda 111, we were able to commission 3 of them. At the time, about 20 were near completion, and more than 50% were quite advanced. And I believe if you have the benefit of sending your cameras around the country, you would see that indeed these are physical projects that were meant to benefit the communities. And anytime I visit my village in Garu, in the Upper East region, the Agenda 111 hospital in Garu is about 1 kilometer from my house. Okay. So I usually walk or hop on a motorbike just to go to the site. It's one of the almost completed ones. I walk about and feel fulfilled that I was a part of a government that sought to provide such an edifice to our district, a first of its kind. So
does he talk about those facilities? Because, you know, the 3 you mentioned that he commissioned, yes. The one in my constituency, Ahanta West, is one of them. The one in Bukro. But they have not been put to use. Does he talk about them?
Oh, it's a matter of great concern to us, especially for the ones that were completed and the ones nearing completion. You would remember that there was an agenda to also recruit additional health professionals so that you can move some people to these new facilities and also recruit new people into the health sector. What was left was to populate these hospitals, because hospitals are not hospitals if they don't have the people who are supposed to render service to the general population. So that was what was left. Put people in there. There were beds, equipment, and so on. And I tell people that sometimes we lose sight of the fact that in the history of our country, not once have we had a government within an 8-year period build that number of hospitals. Look at even the Fomena and Kumawu hospitals. They passed through about 3-4 governments before they were completed and commissioned by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But in real time, to initiate, to have the vision, initiate, think about it, plan, build, and complete these facilities were just mind-blowing. And I believe the only way we can serve the people is to put them to good use.
Okay. Does he have any regrets?
Regrets? No, not that he has mentioned.
None?
No. You come, you do your best, and then you leave. This is a democracy. That is why after 8 years, there is no question as to whether you want to contest again or not, or to even get the opportunity to test your popularity by putting your picture on the ballot. You do your part, you go. And successive governments have done their parts. I don't think in our country there is any government that anyone will say they did not even add a single thing to the fortunes of our country. We are aspirational, and with the benefit of the internet and information from other countries, we would desire that our development moves at a rate faster than we are seeing currently. But the truth is also that within the context of what resources are available, what we are able to achieve at every point in time, our priorities among priorities are set and executed. And when it comes to security, education, healthcare, tourism, I feel so fulfilled that I was part of an administration. Energy. I feel so proud that I was part of an administration that's executed some of the most innovative ideas in those spaces.
Let's come to...
Something caught my attention quickly before we go, because you mentioned that one of the things that was left with in operationalizing those Agenda 111 hospitals would include populating them. Just recently, the current health minister said that a little over 70,000 health workers are unemployed. I like to think these are numbers from the past. What was the challenge why the government was unable to populate these hospitals?
Okay, thank you so much. If you would recall, when we came to office in 2017, health professionals, including graduate nurses from 2012, had not been absorbed. I know this because my brother graduated in 2013 from UDS, and he had to wait till 2017 before he got his first posting to go and work at a district hospital. When you come into office, you inherit the liability and assets of the previous administration. You don't pick and choose what you inherit. Had President Akufo-Addo decided that I am ignoring everybody who completed tertiary education within the health space from 2012 and started to recruit people in 2017, if we are looking at a backlog from 2022, it should tell you that he would have absorbed all those who were educated within the 8-year period that he was president, and even given surplus. But he had to first of all consider the people who did not have the benefit of recruitment for the 4-year term preceding his presidency. You take care of those who are home first, and then gradually you include those that you came to meet, and then continue from there. So there was a backlog of about 4 years preceding the 2017 administration, and these are facts.
But her question is, when you knew that you were going to commission those hospitals and you needed people to work in there, why couldn't you, because you were government then, employ people to take care of those facilities?
We did.
Did you think this number exaggerated or is quite accurate?
Which number?
The 70,000 health workers who are unemployed.
I don't have the further and better particulars. I have to search and be sure from the
But does it
Ghana
come to you
Health
as a
Service.
surprise, knowing that the hospitals that could have been populated by these people and yet they still are unemployed?
In 2024, we opened the portal for health workers to be recruited. Most of them went through the entire process. You remember that when we lost the election, there were people who had been part of the process for 4 months, 5 months and beyond. There was a letter coming from the current chief of staff telling the various public institutions to hold people who have not been put on government payroll as at 7 December 2024. And if you know how people are recruited within the public sector, it should tell you that getting on the payroll is the last thing that happens in the process and not the first. It's not a starting point. For instance, if you want to be a teacher and you get a letter from GES, you have to go to the regional level for validation, go to the district for validation, go to the institution for validation from the headmaster, send it back to the district that you have reported, send it back to the region before they will enter it into a system to the head office For them to forward it to Controller and Accountant General's Department and the Ministry of Finance, before you will be put on payroll. So when they were all over the place sacking people anyhow, even those who were on payroll were removed in tens of thousands. And people were saying, these are Ghanaians. These are people who were not recruited because they wear NPP party t-shirts. They were recruited because they have actually gone through the necessary training and qualified and acquired their certificates and requisite licenses. And that is why they are entitled, as of right, to get a job, because they've been bonded. But they said, no, there is a reset, there is a second independence. We want to undo everything that the previous administration did. And as I speak to you, a lot of young people are sitting home. They are in the house. Yesterday, you saw the report from the Ghana Statistical Service on the drop in unemployment rate between 2023 and 2024. Yes. It is evidence or a testament to the fact that, indeed, in 2024, people got jobs. But if you come and you say, because they were not recruited during my time, I have to clear all of them and find spaces to bring my people, you haven't done our country any good.
Let's get to the recent campaign that you're on to elect a flag bearer for your party. It's been 8 months away from government, and we see what is happening already. I mean, what's your general overview of what's happening in your party in terms of the campaigning to elect a flag bearer?
Two things. I'm excited about the competitiveness. We belong to a political tradition where it is known to Ghanaians that sometimes you find I don't know whether it's by coincidence or anything, people genuinely believe that the best brains in the country are in the NPP.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of people believe that.
Backed by research, or you are just assuming?
No, I'm saying that popular opinion. I'm saying that if you ask those who are a bit savvy in politics, who know about political traditions, they will say that, mostly a lot of knowledgeable people want to join the NPP. That is one. Number two, when you have a party with a lot of people with capacity, you should expect that when the need arises to choose a leader, people will put themselves forward to serve the party. At some point, we had about 17 flag bearer aspirants in our party.
2007,
So the competition...
was that 2007?
Yes, 2007. So there is competition in our DNA. Even when you become a certain president, you are not immune to competition in the NPP. It's a healthy thing. And for me, it sets an example that no matter who you are, no matter your background, if you aspire to lead the party, nobody will use ways and means to say we will not allow you to contest. If you have the capacity to contest, take the form and file. They will make sure your name is on the ballot. We don't gatekeep. And that is a healthy thing. For a lot of young people, if you want to be a president in a duopoly like our country, you should be targeting that I should be part of a political tradition that will give me the opportunity to contest when the time is right and when I qualify to do so. So the competition is good. I'm excited about that. An aspect of the campaign that I don't like is the name calling, is the personal attacks. And I think my view on that issue is quite known and popular. And I say this because we are in an era whereby when you peddle misinformation, when you denigrate somebody, the rate at which it catches fire, even when you change your mind and you want to set the record straight, you want to correct things, your correction or rejoinder may not get the level of attention or prominence that the defamation got. So it is incumbent upon you, if you love the new Patriotic Party, to be measured in your utterances. Stick to the issues. Stick to your qualities. Advise your followers to stick to the issues and amplify what you bring to the table in terms of your personal attributes, in terms of your track record on what you have achieved for the party and the country. Because two things are at play here. We need a flag bearer, but we also need a future president who can govern.
Beyond the
that aspect I don't like, but the competitiveness I am excited about.
You've mentioned two things that really has my attention. Competitiveness, you don't gatekeep. I mean, in some era, you've just been telling us that a little over, I think
17 was 207.
Beyond that, this era, are you surprised at the people that showed up? There's some people you're not surprised. Why? Because it's quite natural that if a person was a deputy, was an assistant, it's quite natural that they want to elevate to the higher position. But are you surprised at the people among the five?
Not at all. Not at all.
Did you see it coming?
It's like a deja vu. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I am not surprised at all. In fact, I'm even surprised that fewer people filed. As it stands now, we have about five.
Yes.
In our election, that is unheard of. I remember the last time we had about 7, because if we have a certain number, we need to do the super delegates and before the amendment, before the current amendment, to prune the numbers down to top 5 before they can go into the main election. And to see that from jump, we had only 5 people pick nominations and submit. That's quite on the lower side.
Actually, not the number, the people.
The people, no, not at all. I'm not surprised.
Are there people in the party you expected to be filing yesterday that didn't file that you're actually surprised at?
Oh, maybe those who have previously expressed interest in contesting and have contested in the past. You would assume that they will come back again. Okay. But if you don't see that, that's surprising, because this person has been part of the process in the last 2 or 3 elections. But maybe they will also weigh what's at stake, and probably some alliances behind the scene here and there, and also their own financial muscle to run a presidential campaign. Being a flag bearer is not a joke. Some people don't even have the money to file, and then you are required to contribute a development fee to the party. I think it's a kind of positive discrimination, because if you have to exhibit your own resourcefulness to be able to mobilize the requisite human resources and funds should you become the flag bearer of the party going into an election. So on that aspect, I think it's a good thing. But for those who have filed, this is NPP. They cut the umbilical cord with competition. So whatever your aspirations are, seeing people file, they didn't come at a surprise at all.
Yeah, for you as a team, or as a team, if you look at how the campaign is going, I mean, it looks like the shot is at you. I mean, do you get surprised at some of the statement or sentiment that are expressed towards your way?
There is a popular account saying that "Edom enisa niya oso ntakrache." Even the shots that are directed at Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia should indicate to you that he is the leading candidate. If he was irrelevant to the contest, if he wasn't the leading candidate, if he wasn't the winnable candidate, they would have treated him like any other person. It doesn't matter, let him run, it's not going to make any impact. But whoever is showing up in the race is looking up to him as a main contender, because indeed he is the leading contender. He is the most popular among all the contestants. He is the most marketed amongst all the contestants. You cannot take the experience of 8 years or 2 terms as a running mate in opposition, and 2 terms and 8 years as a vice president and a former flag bearer of the party for granted. You can't overlook that. You enter every village, from Nankpanduri to Ahumahumaso to Denu to Joje, name it. You go there and find some semblance of branding of the party using his images or any other thing or souvenir with his picture on it there. He is well marketed. He is very popular. I am not surprised that he will be at the receiving end of a lot of shots. Just as he mentioned yesterday, I rather think that the shots should move from him to our common target, which is our opponent. You want to criticize the government constructively. You want to perform your watchdog role as a minority in a democracy to make sure you are drawing the public's attention to all the things that are happening in the government that is not right. Because the government will have the benefit of amplifying what they think they are doing right.
You have just said that the NPP is quite noted for competition.
Yes.
And this is very competitive. Yes. I need to get the note first before I start criticizing the government, because for this one, it's really not about the existing government. It is about getting the opportunity to represent the party. And so I've seen the calls, I've heard the calls that the aspirants should channel their energy to criticizing the government. But is that a real test for the internal democracy?
It is, because they are not mutually exclusive. Whilst you are running your internal elections, people are governing. Things are happening in the country. The nation is looking up to you as a formidable voice to talk on some social issues. There is a conflict in the Savannah region, in the Upper East region, other conflicts in the Oti region and other places. Even if the government would like to talk about other things that they are doing, the general population will be looking for some leadership from the opposition party to point to this direction, that people are displaced here, people are struggling here, attention must go to them. And we were in government and we experienced that. So you would expect that whilst you are taking the time to nominate yourself, file, go through the internal processes, you don't lose sight of why we are even conducting the internal processes in the first place. So you can do both at the same time. But with respect to Dr. Bawumia, we are talking about all guns blazing. When there are 5 people in a contest and it appears as if all attention, all attacks, every effort is towards one person. And I'm saying it's because he is the leading candidate. It's because he is a competition and people are seeking to unseat him as a flag bearer. And I am not worried about the competition or the forcefulness of it. I am worried about the personal attacks.
Is the party concerned about reintroducing a person that lost in 2024 to the entire country in 2028? Is it a matter of having an upper hand within the party? But are you concerned about how well he'll perform in 2028 as well?
Not at
all. For example,
I wouldn't.
One of the aspirants believes that why bring somebody who's lost before? Why try somebody else?
Let's have this conversation in the context of what the political atmosphere or environment in our country has been. But for President Mahama succeeding Professor Mills of blessed memory in 2012 and continuing to get the nod to serve another 4-year term in 2016, it never happened under the Fourth Republic that the first-time contender will win primaries, even within their party, not to win the general elections. And take it for instance, Professor Mills did not win at first time. He didn't. President Kufuor did not win at first time. He came in 1996. He got 39%. 39. Dr. Bawumia got 41.7% at close of poll, as certified by the Electoral Commission. President Akufo-Addo did not win at the first time. Even President Mahama, after serving the first 4 years, lost 2 consecutive elections before coming back to win in the 2024 election. It tells you something.
Does it matter at the time of registered voted at a period? Will it matter the number of registered persons at a particular time when you are measuring in percentages?
When you are measuring in percentages, of course, it's one of the variables. I'm saying, but I have also given an example whereby President Kufuor at the time lost by about 39% and came back to win the 2000 election. It has happened in our tradition.
Yeah.
But what I am looking at the moment, that irrespective of those who present themselves to the people to be selected to lead our party, you have to take everybody as they come. Their capacities, their experience, their character. Can I vouch for you or not? Yes, these are respected people within the party who have contributed their quota to the development of our party and country in one way or the other. And they deserve their flowers for that. But who amongst these people do you foresee becoming a president of the country and delivering the set of aspirations of the people that will further enhance the fortunes of the new Patriotic Party? And that is where I saw Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Even where new candidates also, new individuals or new entrants presented themselves, I went back to the drawing board. In 2020, I supported Dr. Bawumia in the face of candidate AB, but new people have also joined. Let me add them to the mix, shake it up, and now reassess those who have presented themselves. And I still ended up choosing Dr. Bawumia and supporting him without solicitation or inducement. And I did that because I said we need someone to do two things. You need a flag bearer who is a winnable candidate, one. Two, you need someone who can govern. And if you are talking about getting a winnable candidate, I've already expressed that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been marketed enough. And even when we go into as we prepare to go into the 2028 elections, God willing, we want to bearing in mind that NDC is bound by law to present a new flag bearer. Because by our constitution, the current president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is not contesting again.
He has even stated that he won't.
I mean, in fact, even if he didn't, constitution.
Even if he didn't, he is bound by the constitution of the republic not to go again. In the face of the NDC presenting a new candidate, and we having the benefit of going with a candidate that we do not have to start from zero from. Because we have 41.7% of the voter population of the country who showed up to vote, thumbprinting for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and looking forward to his presidency. It should tell you that for these 41.7%, the message that he took out, they bought, they had confidence in his personality, they trusted his integrity, and in their minds and hearts, he was their model president. At the end of the day, if you are representing him, you are only going to build on that number because these 41.7% did not have the benefit of experiencing a Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia-led administration.
But the 41.7 will not be static. Some will move out.
I don't see that.
Chances are that they may be impressed by the current government or not?
I don't see that. Because if he survived these figures in the face of a very vicious campaign, a very coordinated, vicious campaign and attack, saying don't vote for Bawumia because he represents the status quo that has failed in the fight against Galamsey. We are coming to end Galamsey. We are coming to introduce. They should have told Ghanaians, then this should have told Ghanaians that we are going to introduce gold board to buy a pound of gold at 8,500 cedis instead of 13,000. They should have told them that we will not declare a state of emergency. They should have told them that we are not going to repeal the LI. The NDC should have told Ghanaians that when we come, the LGBT bill that we presented to cabinet, to parliament as a private member's bill, we don't think it is in the best form. We would have to go to the drawing board and take some things out of it. They should have told the headmasters that we are not going to give you money to put in your pocket and buy goats and feed the students. We are going to maintain the status quo with the National Food and Buffer Stock Company to give them money to buy the non-perishables. They should have been upfront and told cocoa farmers that we are not going to give you 7,000 Ghana cedis for a bag of cocoa. We are going to increase cocoa by only 128 cedis. Then the people in the face of that would have probably chosen Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as their president. But in the face of such a coordinated campaign with misinformation, with outright falsehoods and failed promises, he did not manage to cross the line in the face of all that. But with the benefit of hindsight, Ghanaians knowing what they know today, that the team of people that were saying these people are everything they are saying COVID, they will still be collecting COVID levy today. Probably they would not have given them the mandate.
Isn't it too early?
So what
if things changed by 2028?
But do you know it will still come
The first budget has been read. The mid-year budget has also been read. Go and check the disbursement. That's what I'm pleading with our friends from the media. If they say we've read it, inspired the population, go and check how much have they disbursed. In Kukobuon Ketenkete, how many have they built for the people? The 24-hour economy, that is the flagship policy. When President Akufo-Addo won 2017 elections, by now the flagship policy, which was free SHS, was being implemented. We were rolling out the free SH policy in the first year, few months after assuming
But they also rolling
office.
24-hour economy.
24-hour economy. With how much? Have you seen? I said, check the budget that was read by by the finance minister and the media. How much have they allocated to that 24-hour economy?
Woefully inadequate.
You have seen them implementing, apart from sacking people, and then maybe they have recruited, although they were trolling us for recruiting river guards. I remember I was at the Tema Naval College with Honorable George Mreku Duka. We were there to commission the parade, and we were trolled for about a month. What is this? Is this how you are going to fight Galamsey? This is a joke. It is only because they assumed that the people who were supposed to do the work were not their foot soldiers. So they have to come to power and take. That's all. Nothing has changed. Tell me one new thing that the NDC has done to change the Galamsey or illegal mining narrative. Gold board. Yeah. The gold board that is struggling with, I don't even know how to put it. The gold board that they have today, that has deceived gold buyers, that has monopolized the gold markets, stopping licensed gold buyers to buy gold and to trade in gold. The gold board that is struggling to deal with smuggling because they are paying the miners at a paltry sum as against what they expect to get from the world market. The gold board that the small-scale mining industry is so pissed with. And I am not saying it too. Who is Joseph Yaming in the NDC? He's their national organizer, right? He has met some communities and done engagements to allude to the fact that even the current government's attempt to fight Galamsey by introducing some so-called task force into the system, he, as a leading member of the NDC and a former deputy minister, is saying on authority that they are not fighting any Galamsey. They are just out there extorting people and collecting bribes. He is saying it. Who am I not to believe?
How does Dr. Bawumia convince the minds of people who believe that it was part of the economic mess that we saw in the last administration, really?
If anybody tells you, with the benefit of hindsight, let me pull this for you, because it is Joy News that published this info. I copied it from your platform. So let me pull it for you. With the benefit of hindsight, the so-called mess, what the so-called mess left for Ghanaians, what it built for Ghanaians, is not supported by the agenda and propaganda that was set out by the NDC as a so-called mess. This is what I copied from Joy News on 4th June 2025. Okay? President Mahama, I'm giving you 3 key documents. This is from 20th May 2025, published by Joy News. President Mahama admits inheriting $8.98 billion reserves from the previous government. That's economic mess, leaving more than 3.5 months of import cover. Economic mess of a government that was able to increase the GDP of a country by $20 billion in 8 years.
Our pockets
were
dry.
The pockets are full today. The pockets are full. I don't believe so. The maize sellers and the maize farmers in the dry market are crying. They are saying their pockets are empty. Now fertilizer is more expensive than a bag of maize. So you do the math. The math ain't mathing. The yam farmers at Dambaya are crying. They are saying their pockets are empty.
September 2 is just around the corner. I like to think that for the Bawumia campaign and the other competitors, we would have more time to talk about it. But September 2 is just around the corner. Do you think that NPP will win that seat? And if you win, what does that mean? And if you don't win, as well, what would that mean? We just have a few minutes for that.
I am so saddened by the passing of Ernest Yakumi. In fact, he was one of the formidable voices in the NPP. Such a promising young man. I know he was passionate about his work and was going to do everything to improve the fortunes of the people of Akwatia. But God knows best. He is not here with us, and we have to go back to the polls. The people of Akwatia themselves, including the NPP people in Akwatia, said we will not do any internal primaries. We are going to look for another young man who has similar traits like Ernest Yakumi, who is industrious, who has capacity to improve the fortunes of the youth in Akwatia. And that is how come they brought Solomon Asumedu as a candidate with unanimous support within our tradition. And you would realize that his nomination also resonates so well with the people of Akwetia because of the testimonies that we are hearing from the ground. People are going to vote for him overwhelmingly because of his own attributes and what he brings to the table, and even more overwhelmingly because of the legacy of NSC Yakumi, so that he can come and finish the unfinished business. So I am confident that we are going into this election on Tuesday, by the grace of God, for a resounding victory to honor the legacy of NSC Yakumi, and also to open a new chapter for Solomon Asumedu, a.k.a. Uwo, to lead the people of Akwetia.
A.k.a. Death.
That's his nickname.
Anyway,
we are born to die. So
this one says, Kojo, Dr. Bawumia presents a compelling candidacy, boasted by his exceptional marketability and strategic branding. His intellectual acumen, resilience, humility, and commitment to party unity underscores his leadership potential. Given his impressive profile, I am confident in his ability to lead the NPP and Ghana, and I am eager to rally support for his candidacy. I am, that's hashtag I am for Bawumia. My love to the ever-competent Fatimatu, Manche Bruce II in Takrady. Brought this one.
Thank you
Manche.
so much.
Okay. And that's how we wrap up the, the interaction with the Bawumia campaign. We're grateful that you could pass through.
Thank you so much, Kojo. Okay. So please join the advocacy so that we win with Bawumia.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
So that's it. Fatima Abubakar is a former Minister of Information in the Eswala Akufo-Addo government.
Well, are you looking to do things differently, level up your skills, and get ahead in this challenging job market? Statistics show it's tough out here for university graduates with only a few landing jobs immediately after school. Doing things differently is what the Design and Technology Institute, DTI, is all about. DTI offers programs ranging from precision welding, fabrication, design innovation, graphic design, sound engineering, animation, photography, etc. entrepreneurship program. Our programs are internationally recognized by the American Welding Society, Pearson BTEC, and CTVET, so you can shine here in Ghana or anywhere in the world. So if you're ready to do things differently and chart your path, check out DTI. Visit dtiafrica.com/admissions. You can call them on 051693534 for more information. Let's tell you about the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, Kujo.
Well, make your dream home a reality with EcoBank. Step into your ideal home or transform your current space into one that truly reflects your style and comfort. With all the support from EcoBank, EcoBank has once again partnered with Joy News to bring you, an exciting experience at the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. This year's edition marks your journey to a comfortable, modern home, even more accessible and affordable. With EcoBank's Buy Now, Pay Later, you can easily renovate, upgrade, or furnish your home to suit your taste and lifestyle. Whether it's elegant home decor, modern furniture, essential electronics like laptops and phones, or solar energy solutions, EcoBank has the right financing tailored to your lifestyle. From staying connected with the latest devices to embracing sustainable living, our flexible consumer loans, asset finance, and salary advance products are designed to help you bring your vision to life. Enjoy competitive interest rates, convenient repayment terms, and fast approval from a bank that understands your needs. Visit our stand and take the first step towards the home and lifestyle you deserve. Comfortable home starts with EcoBank. Be part of it. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. We'll take a break here. We will be back with more. Do stay on.
You're watching the AM show, and it's sponsored by Kenoga Company Limited and Syntex Tank. Now, also sustaining our environment, we discuss an area that's rarely highlighted yet has physical and economic benefits and its landscaping and what's Ghana's record in this area. Joining us this morning as part of our Sustainability Month, a conversation to have a better understanding, Edem Kujo, head of Parks and Gardens Unit Office of the President, joins us for that conversation. Good morning, Edem, and thank you for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, good morning, Mefa, and thanks for having me.
I'm one of the few people who have heard parks and gardens, but do not know that it is a real thing. Please let us understand really what parks and gardens is and the role it plays in our sustainability in Ghana first, before we get into the bigger conversation.
So parks and gardens is a critical key stakeholder in maintaining our green spaces in Ghana, and that is the only officially mandated department of the Republic of Ghana to make sure that our green spaces are well maintained, executed, and sustained. So parks and garden mandate is to make sure that every green space in Ghana is well taken care of, is well sustained. So even under the law, the act, it means that before you even build a house, you must get parks and garden officials to consult, to get the right plants to plant in your home, to get the right species to plant in your home, to create that kind of ambience you are looking for.
Do you think that a lot of people in the country understand this mandate and they understand the role that parks and gardens plays?
It used to be understood, but for some time now, awareness has been on the down play. So now currently we're looking at how to create more awareness, to get people to understand that horticulture is not about beauty alone, but it goes beyond beauty. You cannot be talking about sustainability without the three components that we've got to do with horticulture and Department of Parks and Gardens. You can't talk about environmental sustainability, you can't talk about economic sustainability, and you cannot talk about social sustainability without parks and gardens. Because green spaces are neutral spaces.
Okay.
Because, for example, if there's a green space, if there's a garden, nobody thinks about who is Ewe, who is Ga, who is Akan, who is Muslim, who is Christian in that space. All they think about is to enjoy that space. So green spaces are neutral spaces for one. When you have green spaces or gardens or botanic gardens, it's also an economic boom for every economy. So for instance, you have the opportunity to employ people through green spaces. You also get people to earn salaries from green spaces.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. And you cannot be talking about climate change mitigation without planting of trees or sustaining green spaces.
It will bring us to the simple question of sustainable landscape. I see it and I hear it as a very big term. If you want to say it simply, what does it mean?
Yeah. So sustainable landscape simply means whether gardens, parks, or compounds, or homes, it's just about designing with nature instead of designing against nature. Because the moment you design against nature, there is chaos and troubles. So sustainable landscape is designing or creating green spaces, parks, gardens, to align with nature. Because if you don't align with nature, that's the issue of flooding. Because when you go and build on a waterway, it means when there's heavy rainfall or there's a downpour, there will be flooding. And that also causes havoc. So we don't plan or design against nature, but we design with nature. So it also means that anything you do around that, you must choose the right plant for the right place and for the right space. Then it also means that you are designing something beyond beauty, so that's something that can survive years after, not just in the moment. So that's what we call sustainable landscapes.
In Ghana, which one do you think we're known for? Planting for beauty or planting for sustainability? I like my flowers to look beautiful. I don't think about the others.
So one of the things people don't look at, they are not aware. So it's one of the strategies for parks and gardens to let people understand that just beyond planting flowers at home, it goes beyond that beauty. Because that flower also purifies the air you breathe. So I always tell people, until you stop breathing, you appreciate plants. Because the plant purifies the air you breathe. The plant also helps in biodiversity. I see people talking about, most of the time you ask somebody, can I design your home for you? The person say, yeah, Pedro, an idea. We see flowers. But a person has forgotten that before you get the food on your table, it takes the flower to pollinate your food for you to eat. Because without pollination, you don't have fruit on your trees. You don't have certain things on your table. So the flowers you are talking about or undermining has a critical role to play in even on the food on your table. Because if you plant tomato, before the tomato can turn into a fruit, it has to go through a process of flowers. And that flower might be pollinated either by a bee or either by butterflies. or birds. So how do you get that? You need these flowers to attract these birds, insects, to be able to pollinate, for you to get your tomato, your garden egg, or whatever fruit you are doing. So for sustainability, you can't take away flowers. Even just planting flowers at home has some kind of refreshing moment when you get back. It gives you that, it reduces stress. And also I always tell people, until we see plants as well-being, we will never appreciate them because they help us to stress down, they help us to understand and connect with nature. So that alone is also part of the sustainability bit.
Over the years, how would you rate parks and gardens in this role in helping achieve this goal, making sure that people understand the role of sustainable landscaping, not just beautifying the environment? How can you measure, and have we been quite successful with this?
If you say success is relational and it's in context. So for years back, without parks and gardens, every botanic gardens would have been dead by now. Without parks and gardens, you don't see trees and greens in the middle of our streets in certain areas. So yes, we have a lot to do. There's a lot of challenges, which even the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, highlighted when he went to Singapore, where there's a challenge of underfunding. And he also made us to understand that it's not just underfunding, but because of the stage of our development. However, I think we can do better with that because for sustainable landscapes, you just have to be intentional. Just like we're intentional with investing in our healthcare, intentional in investing in our education, intentional in investing in most areas of our economy. We just have to be intentional with investing in parks and gardens. Then we can recruit what you get.
Adam just mentioned that when the president visited Singapore, he mentioned all of these things. Let me show you a video of how he was drooling over some greens that he saw in Singapore and what he thinks we should be doing as well as a country.
Well, this whole tour so far.
Oh, beautiful. Abu should be like this. We'll see.
Some people say our parks and garden is almost dying. What lessons are we picking from here?
I think the problem is underfunding. Yeah, the parks and gardens are not funded as seriously as they should. But that's also because of the state of development at which we are. Government has to put resources into basic things like water, shelter, electricity, healthcare, education. So by the time you are looking at those resources, there's very little left for parks and gardens. But we have to work at it.
Looking at the entire Singapore, they are quite conscious of the trees, the plants, the green environment and everything, reducing plastic and everything. What really would you say has been the highlight for you?
Because they inculcate it in the kids when they're young. You could see the little kids on an excursion. They come to appreciate trees, plants, and all that. They teach them not to litter. And so we must catch them young.
So, Adam, the president talks about funding.
Exactly.
How bad is it?
So I always tell people, you can't put 1 Ghana cedi into a business and expect 1 million Ghana cedi profit. It's impossible. If you want 1 million Ghana cedi profit, you must invest 1 million Ghana cedi. So for some time now, the department has been lacking in terms of funding. As I speak to you, the department used to have a workforce of 5,000 people across the country. But as we speak today, we are not even up to 400 staff in the department. So it's really a challenge. And that, for the past decade, there's been an embargo on recruitment. So for some time now, they've not been. So people go on retirement, people die, there's no replacement. So if you are able to employ more people, more young people into the space, I don't think you should go to 261 districts and not find a department functioning. Because I always tell people, even in the era of AI, you still need people to do certain things. Because gardening is not something that you can use an AI tool to just work on. You need human beings, you need people to be able to tender and nurture the green spaces. So those are some of the challenges.
Let's stay on the funding a bit. What have you been discovering? Is it that when it started, it was funded and then it didn't yield profits, or it was initially just created for it to depend on internally generated fund? How did we get to the number of employees reducing drastically and it's still not being funded?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, so it's a multifaceted challenge or problem. So interestingly, the Department of Parks and Gardens started as a ministry under the first president of Ghana, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. He started as a ministry. Then when he was overthrown, they made it a department. So even as of now, there's still even a conversation going on with even the alignment of the department. Because currently, our mother ministry is the Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs.
Okay.
So assuming all the 261 MMDAs are under the Ministry of Local Government, and let's say government say this year we are putting maybe 10 million Ghana cedi as the budget for that ministry. So you can imagine how much will be left after serving all the 261 MMDAs and how much will be given to Parks and Gardens to function effectively. So that's one challenge. And another challenge is that for a long time, we've gotten to a point where our development policies is not intentional about how to keep our green spaces. All of a sudden, you see probably a filling station popping up at an area where we're supposed to use our green spaces. And one of the things I always say, until our MMDAs, that means our metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies, see green spaces as a critical component of development in our MMDAs, it will be very difficult to achieve that. Because the MMDAs have not intentionally, because you don't need central government to say, let me use, for example, maybe I'm from Angloga district, right? And when you go to Angloga district, I don't need central government to come into Angloga district. You need probably a green space or an event space in Angloga. So that someone must say, okay, we are taking 5 acres of land to develop a green zone for the people of the Anglo. Okay. So let's say if I create a green zone in Angloga, I'm not just solving a climate change issue, I'm also solving an economic problem. So for instance, if Angloga district say we're employing 10 people to maintain these green spaces, one is creating employment, is creating opportunities for people to get money into their pockets, and the district itself. So one of the critical things we should start paying attention to, Department of Parks and Gardens is not a consuming department. It is a revenue generation department.
Okay.
So for instance, if someone wants to build a house and want to do landscaping, therefore you go and buy a flower, right? And you know the prices of flowers.
Yeah.
So imagine government is able to invest, or these MMDAs is able to invest into the Department of Parks and Gardens. That's going to even be an IGF sector for them, because it's going to create revenue for the assemblies. So for instance, if I have a green space in Angloga, maybe 5 acres square
from Angloga
or 1
for
acre.
real. You must be from Angloga for real.
Yeah, I'm from Tegui. Yeah. So in Angloga, if I have maybe just even say 1 acre land of green space, and I say every week there's an event in Angloga, maybe wedding, adoring, or whatever, celebration.
Anything, yeah.
And they come and rent the space. That's revenue.
Yeah.
Even if you're not even charging the person 10,000 Ghana cedi, at least 1,000 Ghana cedi, 500 Ghana cedi. So weekly, you can see the amount of money you are generating.
I see that the problem is as well gearing towards infrastructure gap, but are there policy gaps as well?
Yes.
What kind of policy do you envisage would help the sector?
So until there's a policy that every MMDA, and interestingly, there's even a structure that is in existence, but not activated.
Okay.
So when you go to every metropolitan, municipal, and district assembly, there's a department called fiscal planning. So that's amalgamation of town and country planning and Department of Parks and Gardens, making the fiscal planning department. But interestingly, when you go to these MMDAs, only a few has Parks and Gardens staff operating. So until there's a policy that each MMDA must make sure that they have a Parks and Garden office with officers and workers tendering their development structure. So each MMDA in developing, maybe whether a market, whether streets, whether schools, must make sure that they plant trees and create green spaces. Each MMDA must have a particular recreational ground, which is a green space allocated specifically for a green space for people to use for activities.
Let's bring it home. What best practices would you probably recommend to households, maybe communities, whilst we wait for the policy shifts, while we wait for funding? What best practices could you recommend to people who are watching to at least start?
That's simple for me, because growing up, I live in a community where people grow trees in their homes, they grow vegetables in their homes, they grow flowers in their homes. So people, even without land, you can still grow flowers and food. Now there's so many innovative ways of growing food and flowers. I don't necessarily need a land to grow plants or flowers. All I need is containers. I can get plastic containers, fill it with soil or cocoa peat or sawdust, and grow plants in it. Okay. So we can adapt growing our own food, our own flowers at homes in containers, in little spaces. So sometimes people in urban centers say, I don't have enough space. So imagine somebody living in an apartment or let's say a penthouse. The person will complain that I don't have space. But there's still space for you to walk around where you can put containers, whether plastic, wooden, or metal containers to grow. And these days, people use a lot of plastic containers. So instead of disposing them off to cause environmental degradation, we can repurpose them, recycle them into containers to grow food and flowers at home.
You may not have the data now, but if you did the math now, how much do you think that the current parks and gardens will require to revamp it to at least achieve that vision that the president saw in Singapore?
So as we sit now, I think I cannot say they should just give us a huge amount of money to start
how much?
So it should be consistent.
Okay.
We should say that every year, we can say in our budget, Parks and Gardens should be able to have 10 million Ghana cedi annually to be able to run their programs and activities. So if it is consistent annually, then you can see improvement. Because gardening is not an event. It's a process. So if you say you are going to give me 10 million Ghana cedi this year, and next year, next 2 years, I don't get a 10 million Ghana cedi, we'll go back to zero. Okay. But if it is a consistent budget allocated for the Department of Parks and Gardens, let's say 10 million Ghana cedi, or every year we're employing even just 10 people every year into that space. So in 4-5 years, we're talking about 50 people being employed just within the space. So each MMD will say, each year we're employing 10 people. So you can multiply 10 by 261 MMDs. That's a lot of people.
That's a good number.
And they can easily pay them because they can generate the revenue from there. You don't need to rely on the consolidated fund to pay these people when we do the right things. So if each MMDA have an event space, have a vegetable garden, that can raise revenue for them, then we're good to go.
I mean, a little bird whispered to me that you're a fellow of the Longwood Garden. And as a fellow, what best practices or which countries do you, if you look at Ghana, which country do you envisage you wish Ghana would be like? And what are some of the things they do differently beyond the funding, the consistent funding?
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been exciting listening to the president recently. So Singapore is one example. The United States is one example. And even in the UK.
Okay.
And Thailand as well.
Thailand?
Yeah, Thailand. Thailand is one of the whole, if you want, so most of our plants, tropical plants we get, the exotic plants, are coming from either Thailand or Singapore or sometimes China.
Okay.
So aside the funding, aside whatever, one thing I've learned studying in the United States is just being intentional. Intentionality. It's just like waking up this morning. You made an intention that you are wearing this cloth you are wearing.
I sure did, yes.
You sure, it was an intention.
Yes.
It was an intention to walk to the studio and have this program done, right?
Yes.
So until we give that intentionality to the Department of Parks and Gardens, it will be very difficult to achieve what we see in Singapore and admire. And a lot of Ghanaians travel across. They go out there and admire these beautiful spaces. It didn't just happen. It didn't drop. It wasn't manna dropping from heaven. People intentionally plan these spaces, design it, execute it, and they are nurturing and sustaining it.
Okay. Maybe finally, are there any innovative technology means that you may want to inculcate in this agenda for sustainable landscaping in Ghana?
Yeah, there are so many innovations we have to look at. One, so we've gone beyond planting with soil now. So now if you don't have black soil, so not every soil that is black is fertile. Yeah, so, but in our local law, they say black soil, but we call it top fertile soil. So we are losing our top fertile soil. I remember when I came into the industry 15 years ago, you could just go to Adenta and get top fertile soil to do landscaping. Okay. But today, you can't get top fertile soil in Adenta. You have to travel all the way to Somenya or beyond to get top fertile soil to do proper landscaping. So In place of that, what is the alternative? There's abundance of coconuts in Ghana. And even people have started using the coconut husks into coconut pit to grow plants. So those are some of the new innovative things, using coconut pit, recycled products to grow plants. We also have hydroponics, where you can grow plants in water, like this hyacinth. It's called water hyacinth. It doesn't grow in ordinary soil or land surface. It grows in water. So you can also grow vegetables in water, like lettuce, cabbages. You can grow them in water. Okay. Those are new innovations. You can also grow, so instead of going to get 10-acre land to grow, let's say, vegetables, tomato, onion, cabbage, or whatever, you don't need 10 acres to grow that. You can create a greenhouse technology where you can create all the necessary conditions to grow the amount of food in terms of yield just within a 1-acre space as compared to 10 acres. So those are some of the new technologies you should be looking at.
And it's been quite insightful having this conversation with you, and we like that you're also bringing this conversation to the fore. It's good that we're having these conversations. So we look forward to a better sustainable landscaping. Thank you for having me. And also, it's a collective responsibility to keep our landscape sustained. We'll be having this conversation with Edem Kojo, the head of Parks and Gardens Unit Office of the President. Please stay this more on the show.
So welcome back again to the AM show. Let's talk about this year's Hobe Chocho. And we understand it's been launched. We'll be joined by one of the organizers of the event, Mr. Freeman Goba. Thank you very much for joining us, sir. So, I mean, what must we expect about this year's Hobe Chocho? Hello, Mr. Freeman.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Rather is Mr. Godsway Hanyabui on the line.
Mr. Godsway Hanyabui.
Godsway Hanyabui.
Okay.
Deputy General Coordinator for Hobe 2025.
Okay. Okay, Chief. Yeah. So, what should be the expectation of all of us for this year's Hobe?
And you should expect to have the very best of the best. We pride Hobe Chocho as the go-to cultural festival in Ghana, which doesn't have a peer in terms of content and the cultural richness. So tomorrow we're having the launch at Ohavu near Abo, and you should expect the dignitaries, the cultural content, and the program. It's well set. Everything is ready. We're inviting the general public to be part of it so that we launch Hobe Chocho in grand style. You should expect a launch that you have never witnessed for any cultural festival in Ghana. Expect that from us tomorrow. Okay.
Now, we understand this year's theme is building bridges from a common history to a common destiny. What does this mean for Anlo and for Ghana?
Certainly, if you trace the story of our migration from Nwache, which is the last place that our forebears stayed before they moved to this present land, we moved in groups. That story demonstrated resilience. It shows togetherness and the need to pursue development in unity. Reaching this place, we have scattered all across the southern part of the Volta region. So this theme is very important for us to reach out to each other. First of all, to acknowledge where we came from, and also our forebears say that in unity lies strength. We believe that when we come together, we'll be able to push our developmental agenda with a common voice, amassing all our resources together to be able to do this. For a nation, Ghana, that should not just be a theme for Anglo, but it should be for all of us. Okay. We know nation building requires our collective efforts, and we should all be proud to put our efforts together to ensure that we develop at a rate that we will be proud of.
Okay. Now, beyond culture, what development issues are you tying into this year's Hobe?
So we have categorized that in stages. The first phase, which is associated with Ohavu, last year in Awal Mohammed's address to Hobe, he proposed a toast to appeal to the government of Ghana to convert the Ohabu Agri College to a full-fledged university.
Okay.
Thankfully, when President Mahama in his thank you tour visited the Volta region, he mentioned that we believe we have that synergy to be able to carry on from there. So tomorrow's focus is to be able to draw the stakeholders to Ohabu, specifically the Agri College, to see things for themselves and agree with us that at this point in our history, that is a project we must pursue.
Okay.
From there, we'll have the mini Hobechocho, which is what we celebrate a week to the Grand Festival. This year, we are planning to go to Ajidoma, and the bigger one will be on the 1st of November.
Okay.
So we are hoping that we'll be able to use Hobechocho to draw attention to our plight as a people, and also the programs we have. Mind you, from January this year.
I think that the event is going to be awesome. We'll be keeping an eye on how this goes. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining.
Most certainly.
This is still the AM show. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with E Corner. Do stay.